Hello friends, and welcome back to the actual project of creating the WhatsApp web clone. My name is Indranil and I welcome you all to my channel Programming is Fun. So before I start the actual work, I would like to say that this is not a beginner's tutorial. So I expect the audience to have a moderate familiarity with HTML, CSS and Angular for that matter, if they want to follow along with me during the course. Otherwise, you can sit back, relax and enjoy the video, although I will try to explain the code as much as possible, but as you know that it is not possible to explain everything in a single video due to some time constraint. Otherwise the video will be very long. Okay, so with that being said, let's start working on the project. So as you can see on the screen, I've already created a blank Angular project using the Angular CLI. It's absolutely empty with the default app component in it and the default code that come along with it. Okay, as you can see, and I've copied some of the images that I will be using throughout the codes, like this one, the Google image, all those things. Okay, so before I start typing the code, I would like to install the core dependencies that I will be using, or the packages that I will be using throughout the course. So in order to do that, I will quickly go to the terminal here. Okay, and I'll copy paste the npm commands from my notepad. So the first one is to install the Angular material package. This is the package, let me show you here, Angular material. So this is official Angular material library that has been created using the Google material design standards. Okay, so let's go back, give it some time. It'll take a couple of minutes to complete the installation. Let's wait for that. Okay, I'll choose the Indigo Pink theme, Angular typography, yes, animations, yes. So just wait for a few seconds, and while it's doing that, I'm gonna switch to a different tab here, and we'll generate few components, okay, that I will be using throughout the app. So I'll use the Angular CLI to do that. I'll type ngg to generate C for components. You can refer the Angular docs to get all these commands and the aliases. Okay, components, I'll put them in a components folder. The first one will be main container. Okay, that will hold the entire app. It's our main container. It's created. Cool. The next one will be the sidebar component. Okay, next we will have the sidebar content. Okay, so sidebar is the main holder of the sidebar holder. Inside that we will have the sidebar content, like all those images and header and footer, all those things. Okay, next I will need chat area. That will be again the holder of the chat area. Next I will need chat default page. Okay, that is when you log into the application and you have not selected any of the chat rooms. Okay, next is chat room. Okay, it's created. Now I'll create a service. In the services folder will be my common service. Okay, so I'll use it for authentication and for storing my route params. It's created. Let's also create a guard here that'll be placed inside guards folder. That will be my chat guard. Okay, so once that is done, and it will be can activate guard. Okay, so you can see we have 3 folders here, and now I'm going to rearrange these folders or stack them where they need to be. So the main container will be inside components, and inside main I will have my sidebar, refactor, and also my inside my sidebar I will have the sidebar content. Next I will have the chat area, that's the main container, refactor, and inside chat area I'll have the default page, and I will also have the chat room area. And for the CSS class names, I will be using a convention known as BEM. Okay, BEM. It's a very common convention. You can read about BEM more on the internet. So it's something like that, like this. So if you have a class like header on the parent div, and you have a child div, and you want to name it header area or header underscore, let's say, text, so it will be header then with 2 underscores text, and inside that if you have something like maybe heading, so you can write header underscore text underscore heading, and this goes on. Okay, and you can also have classes like header underscore text underscore heading dash dash small. So this is for the M part. Okay, so BEM, it stands for, I forgot the full form, BEM CSS. Yeah, it says block element modifier. So here small is the modifier. Okay, so I'm making this heading a small one, so it's a modifier, and the middle one is your element and the block. So my block is the header block and my element is text, like that. Okay, now I believe, okay, my package has been installed. I can check the app module here. So animation module has been imported. I've got all the components imported here. Cool. Now I'll also create a shared module here. Okay, for my material icon or material modules. So ngGm for module will be placed under shared material. I'll name it material. It will be placed here under shared. Okay, I'll drag it outside. I don't need this folder. So here I'll put a variable like const modules, and this will mean array of modules, whatever I need. So I will need let's say mat button or icon module. Okay, so I'll place it here, and make sure you write this import statement in case your IDE doesn't do that automatically. And you need to put this modules variable inside the imports as well as exports array here. And the way you do that, so instead you write mat icon module here and here, repeating 2 times, and this will become cumbersome when you have multiple modules. Okay, so what you can do, you can use the ES6 spread operator and simply type modules. So it will expand whatever is inside the array and put the values there. I'll do the same here. Okay, this will save some time, and I'll go to my app module and I'll import the material module below the animations module, like that. Also, okay, we'll work on the Firestore and Angular Fire later on. Although I have the packages installed, or I need to install the packages first. So let me install the packages first. So this is for the Angular Fire and Firebase, which will be used to communicate with the Firestore. and once this is done, we will be pretty much finished with installing the dependencies. Just one more, that's the Firebase tools, in case you want to deploy your app to Firebase later on. So you would need the Firebase tools, but that is absolutely optional. Okay, and in the meantime, you can go ahead and create your own account in Firebase and go to this console in case you don't have an account there. So any Gmail account would work for that matter. Okay, and let me go to existing app. Like I said, don't have the server running. Okay, we'll do that in a moment. And before I do that, let me install the last one, that's the Firebase tools. Okay, and will save it as a dev dependency because I don't need it for the production application. Alright, let's close this, and I'm going to empty everything, the default code from here. Alright, so in my app component, what I will do, I'll create a div with the class of main, and inside that I'll put a header. Okay, it's an empty header. Also below the header I will have the main underscore body using the BEM format, and inside this I will have router outlet. Okay, so once that is done, okay, give it a few seconds to complete. Okay, perfect. It's done here, and I have my application running here. This is my finished version here, and for the local version, I will go here, my package.json. I'll put a port number. Let's say 4300. So if I type npm start, okay, so it's without the colon. Oops. npm start. Give it a minute. Come on. So while it's running, let's quickly continue on our app here. Okay, so it's started the compilation. Good. I'll go back to my app component here. I'll open the SCSS file. So I'll first target the main class. Okay, I'll put a position of relative and background color will be DAT-BT3. That's this light off whitish color. Okay, yeah, and you can grab the color, this color, using any color picker. I have one in my browser extension, so it gives me the color pretty easily. You can copy the color from here, go back to IDE and paste it. Okay, simple. So I want the width to be 100%, to occupy the whole area, and I'll put a height of 100% as well. Inside that I have main underscore body, if you remember. So this will be on top of everything. So first thing, I will put a C index of, let's say, 100, and it will occupy a width of 70 VW. This is a new unit known as viewport width. So whatever width is available in the viewport it will occupy 70% of it. Okay, and height will be 95. Viewport will be height. Okay, and again the background color, it will be, you can go back to my actual application. This is the background color. Choose the picker, copy it. It's ed with the hash symbol in front. Okay, so this is done, and you can see I have the application running here. This is the application and this is my background. Okay, so I need to center this application like what we have here. Okay, and the easiest way is to go here in the main div, put a display property, set to grid, and we have place items property, and I will use center. Okay, center the content here within few seconds, as you can see. And this is not positioned properly because you have some gap here and lesser gap here. That is because we haven't worked on the header part. So this is our header. So I'll target the header here, give it a background color of 009688. This is that green color you see, and position of absolute that will come out of the DOM tree. Okay, and I'll give it a minimum height of 125 pixels because it will have no content. Position it from top 0, left 0, and a width of 100%. So save the changes, go back to the browser, and you see now I have equal width or gap from top and bottom. I have this greenish background there, like what I have here. Okay, also if you remember that our actual WhatsApp, if the screen size becomes lower, it fills the entire area. So this is my finished version. So this is filling, as you can see, it's filling the entire area after a certain breakpoint, which is 1440 pixels. Okay, so right now my current app will not do that. Okay, but I want it to behave in the same manner. So I'll squeeze the size to 1439, as you can see here. Okay, so what I will do, I will go down and create a media query, screen and max width of 1439 pixels. Okay, so when the screen size is 1439, what I want, the place items to be back to normal, and my main body should occupy the whole of it. Simple. Okay, save the changes, go back, and there you see it occupied the entire area. And if you increase the space, so it will jump back to its original position. Kind of cool, huh? Okay, so that is all with the CSS part, and you can close all these things. So we are done with the app module, or app component rather. So next we will work on the main container. Okay, and before we do that, let's quickly create the routes here. We don't have any routes, so I think I missed the login component. So let's quickly create that. Components/login. Perfect. So first one will be my default route, which will be pointing to my main component, main container component, of course, and it will have children routes. Okay, so the first one will be room with an ID. Okay, so this will be my chat room component, and the default component will be my chat default page component. Okay, now go down here. I'll create a route for my login page. This is all usual Angular stuff. If you are familiar with Angular, this will be all very known to you. Okay, with that set, if I save the changes, go back to the browser, refresh it, see nothing here. Because we need to what do you call, design these components. Okay, then close the app routing module here, go to the main container. That's my, so I'll put a section here with the class of main container. Inside that I'll have app sidebar. That's the selector of the app sidebar component which we created as the main sidebar component here, this one. Okay, also I'll have app chat area, that's this one. Okay, cool. So let's quickly go to the CSS main container and let's style the main container. So this will have, if you see now, sidebar works and chat area works because I have inserted some data here, and this is the main container that is holding the entire thing. Okay, entire app, I mean. So in my SCSS file, I'll say display to flex to put both of them side by side like this. I'll put a box shadow property to, let's say, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 10 pixels and 0 pixels with a shadow color of black with a alpha value of 0.42. Okay, save the changes. You see this box shadow here. Will contain a height of 100%. I think the box shadow should be placed on the app component here, or the main component here. Let's see. Not the main content. What do we have here? We have main body. Okay. So this is the way. Oh, I have it up there. You can write it like this, or you can simply use the AND operator here in case of SCSS. Okay, now we have a box shadow outside. Perfect. So this points to the parent class. Okay, this is basic SCSS. Now we are good. I don't need any box shadow there. I'll put a background color of FFFF or white and font size of 16 pixels. Okay, cool. Now inside this I have app sidebar. Is that the name? Yeah, that's the name. And I'll put a height of auto and app chat area I'll say flex let's say height 100% here. Okay, with that done, let's work on the sidebar first. So I'll go to the sidebar container element and remove this, create a section again, name it sidebar. Inside that I'll have a div with the name sidebar underscore header. I'll also have inside this I'll have a div of sidebar header underscore icons, and outside the header I'll have sidebar content, sidebar underscore content, and below the icons but I will also add a search bar. Okay, so it ends here. I'll put sidebar then search. So with this BEM convention, you can easily tell the depth of this HTML component. So it's one level down sidebar. Okay, so under header icons I'll put some buttons here, but before that let me put an image here which will have let's say avatar, and for the source attribute I'll copy an image link from my notes. You can put anything here. Go back to your application. This is the image. It's the same image that I have used in the actual application. Okay, it's from cartoonize.net. Alright, so or you can simply go here. Let's search for a image avatar image which doesn't have a copyright infringement. So let's choose usage rights, level for use. You can choose any image from here. Let's choose this one, copy image link. Yeah, that should do. As long as I'm able to see the character in my app, I'm good. Okay, perfect. It's a small one, but still it's okay. Next, in the icons I will put button, and I'll use matte icon. Okay, this is from your Angular material package, and it takes a name of the icon. So I'll put donut underscore large. Okay, so you can get the list of icons from this article here and search for donut underscore large. So this is this icon. Okay, and this button needs to have a directive that's matte icon button, and to import the same. So copy this 3 times, and I'll simply change the name from here to chat, and this will be word underscore more, or more underscore word, other way. So I have these three buttons. Okay. Also, I need a menu here. So for that, I'll create a mat menu, import module, and give it a name of mat menu. Inside the mat menu, I'll have a button. I'll say log out, and this will be mat menu item. This is a directive. Okay. And this button, this more button here, will have a directive that says mat menu trigger for. This will point to my menu ID. So save the changes, go back here, click, and you see this menu. Perfect. Okay. Now for the sidebar, so this is done. Sidebar, and create div sidebar underscore search underscore content. Inside this, I'll have a form tag. I don't need the action, and I'll create a span with the class of sidebar search content icon. Or I'll simply copy this. I'll not use a span, I'll use a button here. Okay, and mat icon, the name of search underscore outline. Save the changes, go back here, you see this button, and this will be my mat icon button with the class of this. Save it. Perfect. Below the button, I'll have an input field of type text. Okay, and I'll also have a class of name sidebar underscore search underscore content underscore input. Okay, you see how the naming convention works here. I also give it a template variable or name rather, and I'll bind this form tag or form element with a template variable of hash form, and this will be of type ng form, and I need to import forms module in my app module. I'll do that later, so let's not forget that. And I'll use ng model directive here and a placeholder that says search or start new chat. That's it. And inside that, I'll have a submit button. Let's say it will not say anything. You have type submit, and I'll simply hide it. I don't want to display the button, but I'll keep it there for the submit functionality. So it will work, it will trigger whenever you hit the enter key on your keyboard. And I'll bind to some ng submit event. I'll say on form submit. I'll pass the form here. So let the red squiggly be there, because I have not created the function yet. Let's finish the markup first. Okay. Now in the sidebar content, I'll create ng container, and inside this I'll have app sidebar content. Okay. And the reason I created ng container is that I will use the ng for loop to loop through the data that I will fetch from the Firebase store. Okay, so let's keep it there as it is. Save the changes, go back here, and export of name. Okay, so reason being I don't have the method here. Let's create that. We have type mg form. This is the type void. So log form dot value dot search, and don't forget, go to app module, import the forms module there. Save the changes, go back to application, let it reload, and the error should be gone now. Now we need to work on the styling, okay, of the sidebar. So open your sidebar component dot SCSS, and let's first target the sidebar here. The height should be always 100%, and this will be using flex of 0.35 so as to occupy 35%. Okay, so using the flex property. If you use flex 1, it will try to occupy the whole width. Okay, and I'll give it a border right of 1 pixel, solid light gray here. Save the changes, go back. So this is the border, you see, small border. Nice. Again, inside this I'll make it a flex container, and the flex direction, by default it's row. I'll choose column so as to stack everything on top of each other. So inside this I have sidebar underscore header, so I'll give a padding of 10 pixels. Max height, I'll limit the height to 60 pixels. Okay, background color will be again ed. I'll also make this a flex container, and I'll justify the contents inside that container to space between. Okay, these are all flex box properties. Okay, align the items to center, vertically, refresh. This is how it looks. Okay, so you see all these icons have been placed left to right, and they have nice gap in between them. Okay, so inside the sidebar header I have my icons, right? So underscore icons, that will be my these icons. Where is it? This class. Okay, so I'll put them display flex, align items center, justify content space between, and I'll use a color of, this is the text color, grayish color. See, grayish color, and they will have a margin right of around 10 pixels, and their container will have a width of around 12 viewport width, like that, or let's say 10 is okay. Yeah, that's good. Let's say 8. Okay, and inside the icons I have buttons. Alright, I have a button with matte icon inside it. So for the matte icon I'll use margin right 5 viewport width. Okay, and also I'll give it a font size of 24 pixels. Looks like nothing happened. and I believe I've given the image height or this one. Okay, so for the image I'll use mat card avatar. This is again a directive that will give you a round shaped icon here. This is not working because what I need to do, I need to go to my app component and put a mat card here with the style tag of display none. This is a fancy hack to get this working. You see, because the reason I did this because mat card avatar or the image should be inside the mat card always for this to work, and since I don't have one, I can put this here and set it display to none, so that it will think that the card is there and make it a avatar. Now everything is in place. Close it. Okay. Now for the sidebar search, I will go back here. I'll see if I can break this video into two because it's already over 40 minutes and we are still working on the sidebar header or sidebar. I can use this underscore search. Background color should be at F6, 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 F6. Border bottom will be 1 pixel solid gray. Padding I want 10 pixels all around. Display should be flex. Justify content center. Position will be relative. Inside that I have content. I want the width to fit content. Okay, and position will be relative. Inside that I have icon. That's my search icon. I'll position it absolute so I can move it anywhere I want. Top 20%, left let's say 10 pixels, and the color I want is gray, and the font size I want is 14 pixels. Save the changes, go back here. There we go. So it's placed here. Alright, let's go back there. That's left 0. Save. Okay, let's put some padding there on the input field first, then I'll see. And underscore input border 1 pixel solid light gray. Then width of let's say 380 pixels. It won't have any outline, and it'll have a border radius of 20 pixels to have rounded corners, and a padding of 8 pixels, 20 pixels, 8 pixels, and 30 pixels. So save the changes. There we go. Now we have everything sorted out, okay, in a proper manner. Now we have to put this little bit up, so I'll make it at 10%. Save the changes, go back. Not there yet. 5%. Save it back. Now let's say top 0. Oh, still not there. Minus 10 pixels. You can use negative values in top as well. Oops, let's load it up. 5 pixels. There we go. Alright. Also, the placeholder is sticking next to the icon. We don't want that, so we can target that as well, and that will be inside the input. So, and it's a pseudo selector. You can say padding left to 2.5 rems and font size small. Save the changes, go back. Okay, now you have it there. Perfect. So we are coming with the layout slowly. So below that we have the sidebar content. So sidebar content. Okay, overflow of 5 should be scroll. We want a scroll bar there, and flex should be 1. So it will occupy the entire page. Okay, entire area. I mean, we are done with this. Let's work on the chat area quickly. I'm gonna close everything. Okay, quickly go to the chat area. It says chat area works. Yeah, chat area works. Let's create a section, give it a class of chat. So that I'll have a chat underscore header. In the header I'll have again the image. I'll use the same, not the same this time. This is my avatar, and this will be mat-card, mat-card avatar. Save it. Doesn't have an image, and for the image I found this site avatars.dicebear.com, and you can create your own avatars here by putting any random value. Okay, hit enter. Okay, you get the value, and you can increase the radius, decrease it, all those things. It's a pretty handy what do you call API. Okay, and it looks like this. Okay, they call it seed. Again, everything is a SVG image here. So I'll copy this URL, go to my application, put it here. I'll say API/human/any random value.svg. Save it. Go back to my application. There I have a random value here, random image here. Right. So let's quickly work on the rest of the part. I'll also have chat header, room -- name. Okay, so this will contain a h4 tag with a title, as if now it will be room name, just a placeholder. Also I'll create another div here. I'll give it chat double underscore header right. Okay, this will have few buttons. I'll copy the code from my sidebar to save some time. Okay, let's copy all these except the menu. So I'll quickly rename these to search underscore outline. This will be attach file. I don't need this directive here, and this is fine. Save the changes. There we go. Perfect. Close the sidebar. So below the header we'll have chat body. This will take a router outlet, and below this I'll have chat footer. Okay, this will have a button with mat icon of mood, mat icon button. Copy this, paste here, and this will be mic. So you have two icons there, microphone and this smiley, and between this you have a form. Again the same thing. Okay, so I'll put a variable here, assign it to ng form, and find the ng submit to let's say form submit of type form, and this will have input of type text, ng model, a name of message, placeholder will be type message. That's it. I missed a class, I guess. So chat footer send message. Let's put one dash here. Okay, let's create this function quickly. Form ng form, import it and put a void there. Console log nothing. Go back here. So our code is done. Okay, need to style it a bit. So let's quickly go to my chat area component.scss and start styling it. So chat will have a height of 100% of its container, and flex it will occupy 0.65. okay, that's the remaining 65%. Display flex. Inside this I'll have flex direction column to stack everything on top of each other like this. This header, this is the body, and this is the footer. Any h1, I want font size to be 1.17 rems if there are any, and I'll use underscore header. Max height will be same as sidebar, 60 pixels. Padding I want 10 pixels. Background color I want ed. Okay, and I'll make the header a flex container as well. Inside the flex container I have underscore room dash name. That's the class name I have. I'll let the name occupy full width. Margin left will be 20 pixels to have some distance from the image or avatar. The h4 will, I'll remove the margin bottom from there and I put a font weight of bold. I also have a p tag in case if I use it. I'll use a small font size. Save the changes. This is how it looks. Okay, and I think I did not use justify content space between. Save it. Well, it's not working. Never mind, let's continue working on the remaining part. That's my right side. Okay, that's my right element. So I'll put color of gray, and this will be for my button mat icon, font size 24 pixels, and for the icon with the file class, that will be where is it, in the header I have a class here. I'll give it a class of file, just file, nothing else. Okay, I'll use transform rotate y 180 degrees and rotate z to -45 degrees. So you'll have a rotation effect here, like what we have in the final app. Let me sign in here quickly so that we can compare. And this is exactly what WhatsApp has. Okay, you see there. Okay, chat, width of 100%. I guess I need to use this. No. Okay, so we'll fix that later. Let's work on the chat body. Chat body will have flex 1 and a background image. So you can search on internet like WhatsApp background, you will find lots of images. I'll use the one I have in my notes. So it will be like this. Okay, and I quickly go here. One. Okay, there we go. So I added a flex 1 property to the app chat container so that it will occupy the whole area, or you can put a width of, let's say, 100%. This should work as well. Yeah, that works as well. Okay, let's keep it as width, and here I'll use display flex. This is the body where we'll have the chats, align items, center, justify content space between, and I don't want, no, not this one, I'm sorry. Oh, I was working on the background image. So background repeat will be repeat, I don't mind, and background position should be center. The overflow y, overflow y, I want a scroll bar here. Okay, now for the footer, body is over. Now let's work on the footer. So height is 62 pixels, height is 62 pixels, background color is ed hash ed, let's say F0 F0 F0. Display is flex. So as you can see, I'm using the same properties again and again to design my app, and this is how you do in real time as well, in your real apps as well. These are few common properties that you should know and should be very familiar with their working as well. Okay, So I give it a border top of 1 pixel, solid light gray. Save the changes, go back to the app, and there we go. Everything is positioned to the right and left corners, and this is the middle one because we are using space between. And for the button that we have with matte icon, for all the matte icons, I'll put a color of gray. Save it. There we go. It's gray now. And for the form, I'll say display flex, and flex itself set to 1. It'll occupy the whole area. Alright. And send message. It will have outline of none. That's the input field, actual input field. Border 1 pixel, solid light gray. Border radius of 30 pixels, flex 1, and padding 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixels, 20 pixels. Now it occupies the whole of it. Okay, perfect. 10 pixels, I'm sorry. Save. Perfect. And I hope I created that submit button. No, I did not. Forgot that. Come on. So button type equals to submit style display none. That's it. So go back to this. And for the placeholder, again, placeholder, I'll use padding left 0.27 rem. It's very subtle, but it is there. If I remove this, or if I put 10 rems, save it, you see it's working. It's really subtle. Also, I need a custom scroll bar. Okay, by default you get this ugly scroll bar here. Okay, I don't want this because WhatsApp, it has a nice scroll bar like this, thin one. Okay, you can search on internet how to create custom scroll bars. I'll simply gonna paste the code here from my notes. Okay, these are all pseudo elements. Okay, so scroll bar has a track, has a handle, and a handle on hover. Okay, so track thumb, so this is known as the thumb. This scroll bar itself is known as the thumb, this one. And now you see it has become smaller inside or thinner in size. So let's quickly work on the inner chat area. We are finished with this, so let's create a default page first. So that's only one line of code. Have a room select message, and I'll put an image, and it will be from assets folder, image WhatsApp. Get any alt name. So there you go. Okay, this is the image that you will get when you don't have anything clicked on the sidebar. Okay, perfect. And for the styling, I'll simply say height 100% and width also 100%. Nothing else. Done. Next is our chat room component. Okay, so I'll have let's create a section, or let's continue with div, doesn't matter, chat underscore area. So here I'll have ng container again to loop through certain elements, which will have chat area underscore message. This will contain some span elements. First one will be chat underscore area underscore message underscore name, and the second one will be underscore text. As of now it will be, let's say, John Doe, and this is hello. And the third span will be timestamp, so let's say 10:50 p.m. and I'll put it as time. This is done. Let's go out of ng container, and if there is nothing, I'll show h1. I will say no messages. Text align center. Okay, let's quickly go to the SCSS file and style these elements. First, I'll have the chat area. I'll set a padding of 30 pixels. This will be each individual visual message. Individual. Gosh, I can't type today. Message will have a position of relative. Width, I'll use fit content. The max width, I'll limit it to 400 pixels. I don't want the messages to expand the whole width of the chat area. Padding will be 10 pixels and 5 pixels. Border radius, they will have 10 pixels. Background color, I'll have F6, F2, F2. That's the whitish background for the chats that you don't send, or you receive rather. So the first, I'll use a pseudo selector, say first child of this message will have a margin top of 2 just to give some extra space from top. And text, the text will be of small, font size small, max width, inherit, and name. The name, I want it on the top of the bubble. Okay, so I'll set it a position of absolute. Up top it will be minus 20 pixels. From left I want 0. Font size, of course, small. Font weight, I want it to be in bolds, and width of 200 pixels so that it can accommodate longer names. For the time, let's say it will have a position of relative. From right 0, bottom 0. You can also set positions for relative objects or relative elements as well. It's just that they don't leave the DOM. Okay. Font size will be extra small. So these are pre-built CSS properties. You can use them, and they will automatically accommodate based on your font settings. Okay. And in the room, I will also have a dynamic class okay, which will be assigned to this chat area message here, and for that I'll use the ng class directive. Okay, I can put any number of classes here that will be applied based on some conditions. So the one I want to add is chat area message owner. If I'm the owner of the message, I want this class to be added. A condition I want is I'll have user ID is user variable that will have the UID property. If that is equals to the message that I'm receiving to that user ID, okay. So I'm gonna put true here, and I'll put this in comments. So save the changes, go back. It won't accept now, so I'll move it outside. Okay, outside somewhere on top, just to have a reference. I think I need to, no, let's put it on top. I'm sorry. Put and comment it out. Save the changes, go back here. Still works. Perfect. And let's style that here for the owner thing. So the owner, that will be placed below time, will be dash dash or dash owner, single dash, right, message owner. And then we are still under the message block here. Owner margin left to auto, so that will be pushed to the right. If you want to push to the left, you will use margin right auto. Background color, this is the green color. It's DCF8C6. Very subtle it is. See, this is the green shade. Save it. Alright, so we are pretty much done with the interface here. Let's quickly go and set up our Firebase. Okay, I'll go to the console here. I'll create a new project. Let's say WA clone tutorial. Continue. Do not enable create project. Give it a few seconds. Come on. And I can close this, close this. So we need the sidebar content also, right? So let's quickly go there. Sidebar content. So we forgot to create that. This will have a section with a class sidebar content, and inside this I'll have image of that same API. That's the dice bears API. I'll put anything that is Vici here. Avatar, and this will be again my mat card avatar. Save it. You see it there. Perfect. Then I'll have a div of sidebar content room. I have a span of room name. Here I'm not using BEM. Well, of course, if you want, you can use it. So let's use it then. Sidebar dash content underscore room underscore name, and this will be my last message. Room name message. So now let's quickly jump to the CSS. Sidebar content, display flex, align item center, padding 20 pixels, cursor should be pointer, border bottom 1 pixel, solid light gray, and on hover, this is a pseudo property. So on each item, when you hover, I want the background color to switch to light gray, and if you go to room, you have a room here. This one will have display flex, flex direction column, stack on top of each other, atom center, margin left 20 pixels. Then we have a span with the class of room name. Okay, for that we'll use font size 1.18 rem, align self flex start, so you can align the individual flex items as per your need. Last or chat header, what do you call it, content last message. And this is not chat header, this should be this one. Okay, make sure you don't mess up with the class names. Flex start. And for all the spans that I have there, general element, I want to set the font size to small. That's about it. Save the changes. This is how it looks. Okay, now I think my Firebase has been configured, so I can create an app. WhatsApp tutorial, register app, and I'll simply copy the Firebase code from here, this configuration element. I'll go to my IDE, search for the environment ts file. This is the dev one, and put it there. And we need to replace equal to with colon, and copy this whole thing. Yeah, and go to the production one as well and paste it there too. Because when you compile the application, build it, this file will be used. Okay, save the changes, go back here. Now let's close everything and go to app module. First of all, I would like to remove all these from here and put it in my material module just once. Okay, so to clean things up from the app module and make it a more leaner. So below the forms module, I'll use Angular Fire module, and I'll initialize the app with my environment dot Firebase config. Next, I'll import all the modules that I will use. I will use the Angular Fire auth module and Angular not auth, the auth module, and Angular Fire Firestore module. There we go. Once that is done, save the changes, and our application is still running. Ignore these warnings in the console. Okay, close both the modules. Okay, so let's first go to the service. So we have common service here. So the very first thing that I will do, I'll inject my route, that is my sorry, not route. I'll inject Angular Firestore, Angular Firestore, and Angular it's Angular Fire or auth, Angular Fire auth. Also here import star as Firebase from Firebase. Okay, so since this service will serve two things. First is authentication, and second is storing the route param value. That is, when you go to route room/id, you'll store the id value so that other components can consume it, because otherwise the non-routed components will not be able to fetch this parameter value from the URL. Okay, so for that I'll create path param state variable, and I'll initialize this to new behavior subject of type string. Okay, pass it an empty string as the initial value, and a path param object of type observable. Okay, and in the constructor, this dot path param equals to this dot path param state dot as observable. So I initialized this. Now I'll create a function to update path param state whenever the route changes. Path param of type string. So with this dot path param state dot next, it has the next method, and it will be new path param. Okay. Observable of string. Or this will not return anything actually. It will be void. Cool. Now we will add the authentication functions. So let's first create a user here. Angular Fire user. So user, we have private user of type user. This will be from Firebase. So user from Firebase. Cool. And here I will also need to inject router. That's Angular router, so I can send the user from different routes if not authenticated. And in the constructor, I'll also say this dot if or this dot auth. Let's name it as Angular Fire auth. Okay, AF auth. Angular Fire auth dot auth state. This returns an observable of user. Okay, earlier in Angular Fire 2 package, it used to return an observable of boolean. but they have changed the output type now. So this will give me a user, okay, which will be either null or an user object. Okay, so if the user is present, and I'll assign this dot user to user, and also set the local storage with json.stringify this dot user. Okay, so that I can fetch it anywhere I want using the local storage, and this dot router dot navigate by URL to the default route. Else, if that's not the case, then I'll set the item to null. There is no user found. Okay, now we know that we discussed that we want to log in with Google. Okay, so let's quickly create the function login with Google. Type void and this dot def auth. So this is the Angular Fire auth object or variable. This has a method sign in with popup. This one, it takes the provider. See, so in the arguments I'll pass new auth. This will be from Firebase as well. Not here, not this one. Let's try again. Import. Nah. So it's actually from Firebase app, and this is the auth object. Okay. So auth dot Google auth provider, like that. So we are instantiating that class. Okay, so when that happens, I'll chain it with the then statement, but it returns a promise and a data of user credential of type user credential, and these are all Firebase interfaces. Okay, the classes or whatever it is. So if it has data.user in it, the data has .user property in it, so I'll set the user object with data.user. Also update my local storage dot set item user with json.stringify this dot user, and I'll send the user to the default page. Simple. And if that's not the case, let's set it back to null. What happened here? What did we miss? This is the constructor. Oh, so we want to get out of the constructor here first. Put it there. Okay. Next we'll have logout method, also be a void return type. So this one afauth has sign out method. It's a promise. It's a promise. So when that happens, I want to empty the local storage, delete the key and its data from there, and router dot navigate by URL slash login there. Also you can return the user with the get user function. This returns the user, Firebase user, and return this dot user. Okay, now let's work on the guard. We have a chat guard here. This is can activate guard that we created using Angular CLI. It expects a return type of return statement of either observable of boolean or promise of boolean or a boolean or URL tree. So first of all, we need to inject something in the constructor. That's our auth service. Let's import the Angular Fire auth here. Angular Fire auth here. Okay. Also, I need the router. Come on, Angular router. So, as we know that this AF auth has a auth state property, but this returns a user, right? And we want an observable. So what we will do, and you can see all these quick links because it is returning, as you can see here, returning a Firebase user, observable of Firebase user. That's why it's not accepting it. So what we can do, we can use a map operator here. That's the RxJS operator imported from RxJS operator, RxJS. I'm sorry. So it will give me a user, and what I want to return is user whether equal to null or not, so either true or false, and this will be passed to the next function here. I'll use a tap func method operator. Will be get a value from the map, which will be C, which is boolean. Here I was getting a user from auth state, and after mapping it, I'm getting a boolean. Okay, so what I will do, I will check if the value is false, then send the user to /login. That means he's not authenticated, and return the value. Else return value. If it's true, do nothing. Okay, and we are done with the guard. Okay, the implementation of the guard. Now we need to go to the app routing module, and just after the children, we can put a can activate guard here. It takes an array. I'll use chat guard here. Simple. Save it and refresh it. So it says login works. Okay, let's quickly create the login component here, and that will not take much time. So I'll create it with the class login. I'll put an image, and source will be assets / logo, and button will be mat raised button. This is the directive from Angular material, and inside the button, instead of text, I'll use the Google image as a sign-in button. So save the changes. This is how it looks. Now we need to style it, and for the styling, it's pretty simple. Go here, display grid, place items, center, and height should be height of your element. Height should be 100%, and the images that I have, the images, yeah, we have 2 images actually. So this will target the immediate element, that is the logo. Okay, height, and the height I want is 70%. Don't want that big of an image. And for the button, I'll give it a width of 300 pixels. So save the changes, go back. Now, and if you click this button, nothing will happen as of now. So let's hook that up quickly to a method. We'll look for the click event, and let's say login. Okay, login method, I'll check my auth service or common service. Okay, so this dot common service dot login with Google. That's it. Of course, it's white. Save. Go back here. Click. You get this pop-up straight away. This is the beauty of Firebase. Okay. Okay. Next, what's needed? So what's happening here? Do we have anything inside here? Let's see. Inside the local storage, we have a null value here. The reason being, I guess we haven't enabled the Google Authentication. So you need to go to the console and enable under sign-in methods. You need to enable Google first. Okay. Save. Perfect. Now, if I go click sign in with Google, I'll get this details and I can click, and this should be updated now. There we go. Perfect. I'm in my app. I'm inside my app. So now I'll close all these files. Let's quickly work on the sidebar. Let's put some data first. Okay. So in the Cloud Firestore, I'm going to create a database in test mode. Default location is fine. Give it a second. I'll start a collection with the name of rooms, and I'll create a first document. I have a name of, let's say, movies. Save. Another document I can create with the name of gaming. These are my rooms. Okay. So I'll go to my sidebar content area that has these what do you call details, room name and message. Or I'll go to the parent component first, so that I can get the data, not here, in the constructor. I'll inject a private Angular Firestore, and also the common service. So for the seed value, for the avatar, random seed, I'll generate a random seed of any array. It's an array type. I'll store the data. So let me quickly go to my service and create an interface here. I will export interface room data. This will have a name, an ID. That's optional. Okay. Go back to my code. Room data, array. of it, and also a string last message string. So ing on init. So this dot random seed is equals to array. This is the JavaScript object. So I'll create random numbers here. It will have an array of length 20. I'll have 20 objects inside that, and I'll pass an anonymous function, ES6 function, that will be math dot using the math.flow and math.random. I'll multiply it with any random value here that will be stored inside my random seed. Also, this is to generate a random value and store it in the random seed array. Generate 20. Now fetching data from Firestore. So I'll use this .afs .collection method. It takes the name of the collection. So the collection here is this rooms, okay, rooms, and then you can use the doc operator. That's the document. Document will be your these two, okay, and then you can add a new document, and then document can have their own collections inside them. But you want to get the list of rooms, okay, so for that you have two methods. One is value changes and another one is snapshot changes. The only difference is that if you use value changes, you will only get the data, that is name of the room. But if you want the ID as well, you need to use snapshot changes. They both are observables, so this is exclusively used to get the ID as well as the data. And I'll use the pipe operator here to format my data, and within that I'll use map operator from RxJS, sorry, and this will have actions of this type, document change action. It will be an array, so I can say I'll return actions. So I'll return actions, and then I'll use the map operator. It's the regular JavaScript operator which you can use on array to loop through each object, okay. So for each action, what I will do, I'll return an JavaScript object, a JSON object here. Not JSON object, it's a JavaScript object, okay. So I need the ID, and it will be stored in the a.payload.doc.id property. As you can see, my IDE tells me a lot. So next I need the data. For that I'll use the spread operator, and I'll go to a.payload. And then doc. You see we have a data function here, so I'll use data. So that's it. Save the changes. Okay, now if you go down here and hit subscribe to this observable, because you need to subscribe to get the data, and you see it's an unknown array, but I want this to be of room data type, because I know I will get the data in this format, okay, which will have an ID and the name. So I'll store this room data in this rooms. And if I go to console.log and room data, if I console log this, so see console, it's not a set, common service, okay, common service 32, common service line 32 dot set item, I guess, yeah, save, go back. Guys, you get to you get an array with 2 elements in it. Okay, one is this ID and the property. Now the only thing left is to go to your component and change it there. So we will go to our sidebar component. Where is it? Sidebar component. So we have all these things. Okay, I will be passing some object here, a parameter here. Okay, so for that I will loop through. I told you that I will be using this ng container to loop through my array, some array. So it will be this one. Let r of room data. I also store the index of each element in a variable called I. And one thing, that whenever you are subscribing to any observable in the component.ts file, make sure you always store it in a subscription variable and unsubscribe from it when the component is destroyed. Okay, so this dot subs dot push, so start here and it will end here. Okay, and in a ng on destroy method you can say this dot subs dot map s dot unsubscribe. Okay, like that, and of course this is of type void. Now go to your sidebar component. So my app sidebar here, it should take some input property. That is my room data of type room data. I need to import the input from Angular core. Okay, you go back here and you say room data. That will be my individual room here, that's R. And also I want to send a random seed of type string. Random seed will be my random seed with index I. Whatever index is there, send that particular object from the array. Okay, so save the changes. You're seeing this because we have not implemented the code in our .html of sidebar content. We have not replaced these static values. So this will be room data.name, and here let's put ABCD and then the random seed. Okay, save it, go back. Perfect. Now our app is taking some shape here. And for the last message, right, so for the last message, sidebar content, I'll create a local variable here, last message of type string, and in the constructor I'll inject the Angular Firestore to get some data, and since I will be doing it in the component, I need to store it in a subscription. So this dot subs equals to this dot Angular Firestore dot collections rooms, and for the it takes an ID, so I'll get it from the room data.id, right? And from there I'll jump into the collection of messages which I'll have in the future, and I can, as a second parameter, I can pass a ref object here, a function, to perform some queries for operations. So I'll sort the messages by time in ascending order or in descending order, okay, to get the oldest message first. And this time I simply want the data. I'll use value changes and I'll subscribe to it, give me some data, but I will ensure that if data.length is greater than 0, I want this dot last message should be equals to data first entry, because that will be my latest message from the array. Okay, I'll extract the message property there, and I'll simply replace this with last message. Save. We're done. So this component is done. All right. And let me also create an output property, seed value. This will type event emitter string, emitter of string, because I want to emit the random seed, whatever I got, to my parent components. Okay, so this section here, whenever you click on it, these are the individual sections on the left sidebar. I want the user to be sent to room / the room ID. So it's room data.id, and there is a route we already created for this, if you remember. And we have an active class here. I think we do. Let's check it here. I think I forgot to create one, but never mind, can always create that. So I'll remove it as of now if the class is not there, because I don't want to waste any further time creating the class and defining the properties there. And I'll store the ID. It's the regular HTML ID with room data.id to make them unique, and I'll bind to the click event on click. So I'll listen to that event, click event. I'll simply event using my seed value event emitter, and the value will be random seed. Okay. This doesn't return anything. Okay, so that's that. And if you go to your parent component, that's my sidebar component, this one. So now I can listen to the seed value event and I'll get the seed data. I'll store it in a function. So using the default event object that Angular gives you, it will have type string, of course, we know that. Okay, and what I want to do, I want to do the same thing. I want to emit it again from my component. So go back here, copy the code, put it here. So this dot seed data seed value dot emit. The value I got from the event. Okay, so this will go to my parent component, which is my main container here. Seed value, seed data, same thing. I'm even keeping the names same as well. And here I'll have a seed value type string, a local variable. I'll store it there. This dot seed value equals to ev, and type void, of course, and I'll pass it to the app chat area. So chat area will have an input string. So this is the basics of how you pass data between two components. Okay, and that's why I told you should have a basic knowledge of Angular or basic understanding how Angular works. Only then it will be beneficial for you. I mean, you will be able to understand it in a better manner. Okay, so when that is done, I go to my add chat area component. So this is my seed value right here. I used ABCD, if I remember correctly, sidebar content, ABCD, correct, and pass the random seed. So that is there. And if you see here, whenever you click this, okay, the room name, so for random seed I'll use the seed value here. Perfect. The room name, I need the parameter. Okay, so for that I'll inject my common service. Okay, and in the in my routed component, my routed component is chat room, right? So what I will do, I'll also inject it here, common service. So in my ng on init, whenever also I'll use the activated route. Okay, using that I can fetch the params or the parameter values. So using a param map observable, I can subscribe to it. Before I do, I can pipe certain operators. The first one, or the only one I believe, is the map I will be using. So give me a param map of param map object, or whatever you want to call it, So I'll use the get method to get the ID. Okay, and then here param, this will be a string, as you can see. I'll call the this dot common service dot update state params with route path param. So as soon as I do that, it will emit a new event that yes, I got a new value there. Okay, and again, if you remember, I need to store this in subscription. Okay, this dot subs, this, and implement the on destroy interface, and this dot subs dot unsubscribe. Cool. Okay, and yeah, this of type void. So close this. Here also you need a sub of type subscription. So this is your non-routed component. Okay, chat area, it's a parent component. Okay, so here what you will do, you will simply call this dot and param value of type string. So this dot subs equals to this dot common service dot path path param dot subscribe, give your value, and this dot param value should be equals to value. Okay, and also you can console log this in the browser to see whether this is working or not. So save the changes, go back to the application. Now if you go to any route, you see getting the same value here in your parent component. Okay, this is how you do it actually in an efficient manner. So whenever you submit a form, if form dot invalid, just return, don't do anything else. You store the message in form dot value dot mess form dot from the form dot value. It will have a dot message property. So I'm using the destructuring functionality of ES6, and I'll reset the form. Then I'll go to my AFS. That's not injected. Private AFS of the Angular Firestore. So this .afs .collection will be rooms. Inside the rooms, I'll have this .param value. It will be the ID actually. Inside that, I'll go to messages and add a new message. Message will have the actual message. The user ID of type is auth service, or the common service rather, common service dot get user dot uid. Okay, since it's a Firebase user, so that will have the information present there. And common service dot get user dot display name, and for the time I'll use Firebase. I'll use Firebase here. Import everything as Firebase from Firebase. Okay, Firebase.firestore. Field value dot server timestamp. Whatever timestamp is there on the server, use it and put it there in the actual database. Okay. Let's see if I go there. I choose gaming. I don't have this John Doe hello. Okay, that's my default message, I guess, in the chat room. Yeah, here. So now I need to change that as well. So go to the TS file. So I've injected my Angular Firestore here and inject that. This dot is user. I told you that I'll have that is user here of type user Firebase equals to json.parse from the local storage get item user. And let's make it an array, and here I'll use push. Okay, next thing that will be stored in this array will be another observable. That's the route dot params subscribe to get the parameter value, and once I get that, I will call the collections rooms, and the document I want is para.id. This is para.id as a get method, which will give me some data, and I'll store I'll put two variables here, item and message data type any, which I'll be using later on. So this item will be equal to data also the subscribe go, right? So this is one. The other one will be this .afs collections rooms .talk r.it collection messages. Again, I'll use a ref to sort it with time, and this time I'll use ascending. Okay, let's put it on new line here. I'll use the value changes to get the data, subscribe to it, messages, and this of message data of type messages. And since you're subscribing here again, so make sure you store this in the subs array. Okay. I'm going to put a comment here. So this is to get the messages in reverse order, that is latest on top. This is to get all data matching the document ID. Save the changes here, and let's go back to the application. Unsubscribe will not work because now it's an array, so I'll use the map operator s.unsubscribe like that. Okay. Now if you click on gaming, oh, still haven't removed it. John Doe. This will be item. I have ng container here. Yeah, I will loop through all the messages. ng4 let, so use ng if here. So message data dot length is greater than 0. If there are any messages, then only show this block, else no data. That will be pointing to my template here. And so remember this condition true. Now I will replace it with isUser.uid equals to m.user_id, and this m is still undefined because we haven't used ng for directive. So into let m of message data. We are repeating this dev multiple times. That is the length of these message data variable. Each time there is a message, I'll put m dot name here. Text will be m dot message, and for the time, so in Firebase we will get a time stamp, and I'll simply call the time property dot, it will have dot seconds property within it. I'll multiply that with 1000, and I'll pipe it to the date pipe that Angular offers us to convert that in a timestamp. So save it, go back here, I have no messages, we click hi all, enter, see the message here, and that should be present. Here as well, but this is messages, right? And I believe in my form chat room, that is chat room component, where did I submit it? Chat area, sorry, form submit messages, sorry. So save the changes and quickly go back here. I'm going to delete this collection here. message. Now if we go to the application, hi guys, programming's fun. Hi guys, so the formatting is better off. For formatting, I think we need to go to the chat room and check the add message and name area. Oh, see, we missed an underscore there. Save, go back. There you go, and see this timestamp, right? Works, right? And suppose if I log out from here, come on, log me out. What happened to the logout functionality? Let's check that quickly. Close all. Sidebar component. We have this. Oh, we haven't implemented that. So click logout. So this is of course type void, and we need to inject the common service in case we haven't done yet. So we have done that. So this dot common service dot log out. Perfect. Now go back here, let the app refresh, sign out there, and if I sign in with a different account, come on. And I go back to the same room, you see it's on the left hand side in white background, and I'll type hello all. See stacks properly. Now if I log out here, go back to my own account, see it stacks properly here as well. So for the header here, that's my chat area. I have a header here. I'll put a title there. So for that I need to emit something from the sidebar component. The sidebar has the room information. Just give me a minute. Chat body, we have chat body. Okay. So from the chat room component, I am going to emit another output event so as to send the details of the chat object. Okay, can name it anything, chat data. Let's name it outside chat data by event emitter any. Let's do new event emitter of any, and of course import it. And whenever you get a data here, store it in the item. You want to chat data.emit the value of this dot item. This will have data.name. Okay, so I'm emitting the name to my parent, where you have router outlet. This gives you an on activate event. Whenever that route is activated, it will emit an event which I will capture here, that is chat data with the $event chat data. Okay, this is in my chat area. So I'll check if event.chat data, that's the name I chose here, chat data, is not equal to undefined, since we have an event emitted. So we will subscribe to that event that will have room name, and I'll create a variable here to store the title, or let's say room name, type string, copy it, and this dot room name equals to room name. And in my chat area component on top, I'll put room name or this. So now whenever you go here with the app refresh and you click any of these rooms, that will be reflected here. Okay, and I'm also getting the seed value somewhere here. Should be getting that. There's input random string from the chat area. So chat area will get the random seed from its parent component, that's your main component, which is this one, and that is coming from my seed data value here. And this is emitted from your sidebar. Okay, so my sidebar is emitting this from this event emitter, and this is getting the information from the sidebar component. That's this content here. Okay. This is being emitted from here. It's a little bit confusing, but it works. And let me copy this whole thing. I'll go to chat area. I'll place this string here. Save. Somehow this is not working, but we're getting a name, which is cool, and we're seeing the chat as well. Just the last piece that is still remaining. Okay, so we need to get rid of this scroll bar here. That's pretty easy. Go to the chat. Where is it? Chat room. Okay, you have a scroll property set somewhere. Or maybe it's set on the parent one. So chat body, cut it from here, paste it there. Nope, should be there only. My chat room, do I have scroll here? No, I don't. Anyways, let me put overflow x to hidden. See if that works. Yeah, it did. Okay. Now the only thing left is the creation of new room. You click here, doesn't work. So let's fix that. For the search bar, let's close everything. That will be inside the sidebar. Parent one. We have a form here, and we're not doing anything as of now. So we will go to Angular Firestore. AFS, collection, that's collection of type room data. You can pass a type here because it's a generic object. You can pass the type that you expect, and for value changes, dot pipe. We'll first check whether the room exists or not. For that we need the values, right? And I'll use the map operator to get some data. We have time room data array, and I'll look through each of the entries there to check whether name in lowercase matches the form.value. So, or I can simply extract it, search from form.value. and start form value. I can put search to lower case. Okay, then I'll subscribe, and if you remember, subscribing, what you need to do, you need to store it in a variable. Oh, I have the subs array here. Cool. So I'll go here, this dot subs dot push. This is the best practice. So subscribe will give me a data value of type boolean, correct? It's an array of boolean. So if data value and I'll check if data value dot length is greater than 0. That means we have something here. Or I'll say data. First I'll check data value dot filter. How many trues are there in this boolean array, if there is any true value or everything is false. So if there is any entry, if this data value is greater than 0 now, that means it has a true value there. So I'll say alert, sorry, the room already exists, and I'll return from the call here, else if search is not equals to null or search is not equals to empty string, then and both of them should be true, right? So this dot fs dot collection rooms dot add a new room, and the name will be my search. That's it. There's my if statement. There's no else statement. Okay, so for this if else return, do nothing. If that is null, do nothing. And after everything, come down here, or I can simply go on top and reset the form as soon as I fetch the value. Form.reset. Perfect. So with that said, save the changes, go back to the app, okay, click here, say hello guys, there. Create a new room, click on this value, let's say gaming, sorry, exists. I can use lowercase exists, and I can type development, hit enter. It's not subscribing, so let's check what happened with that subscription. Okay, otherwise the room has been created. You can go to the store and you can see here under rooms, very fresh. Okay, so it has not created the room. something might have gone wrong. Says cannot read property to lowercase of null. Okay, I named it search. I think that should work. Form dot value. Let's use form dot value dot search and replace everything with that, and when everything is done, form dot reset form, and for the input let's try that again. Save the changes, click here, gaming, it's not working, cannot read property of null. That's strange. ng model it should work actually. Let's see. So log form dot value dot search. And comment out this step. That refresh. I go here, gaming, I get gaming. I choose test, get test. It's working. Const search equals to search, and this is of type text. And let's still output that. Okay, it's working now. And what is this? This is a new room that was created. Null, delete document, delete. Search is not equal to null, and this should be like this, and search is not return empty string. Save. Go here in my app. Load this document. It's gone. Gaming. Well, something is not happening properly. This is strange actually. So let me remove this from here. Search to lowercase is not a function. Oh, oh, my bad. Gaming, yep. I enter development. Oops, that's gone into a loop. If form dot valid return and I'm gonna go here. I'll remove the whole collection here. No. Let's say all these null values. Well, this happens sometimes, but it's very unfortunate. Okay, so we are almost done with the app. Close this, and you see here test works, and if I go to localhost 4200, I got a couple more. So movies, this is null. So go to gaming, post something. Gamers works. Movie fans works. Go here, search for gaming. See this message. Okay. Let's search for movies. Cool. I don't have anything in my database yet. So now I search for, let's say, development hit enter. So this room already exists. So now it's getting stuck in this loop. Let me remove this from dot value dot search numbers to null. Do this, set changes. Ignore all these null values. Let me remove it. So for the final time, and I told you guys this is going to be a long one. So development, nothing happened. Test gaming can exist. What is rooms, right? Search, save, check that here. Gaming exist. Test. I don't see it coming down here. That's strange, huh? We have this function in Sidebar Component on form submit. And there's unreachable code. And that is what surprises me. Okay, let's check again what we are missing. We are piping it, and for each data let's put a tab operator here, value let's do that log search. Okay. Let's do that. not even submitting this time. Oh man. Search input. Well guys, I'm not sure what's wrong here. I'll fix it and I'll upload the final code in my GitHub repo. Apart from this, everything seems to be working fine. Okay, you can have chat, and if you scroll this, it expands as well, so that's working. So everything is working. I'll fix the code and I'll share it with you guys in the GitHub repo. I thank you all for staying with me this long, and we have managed to create a clone of WhatsApp web which looks somewhat identical. Okay, if you have any questions, comments, or any suggestions, please feel free to put that in the comment section below, and I will be happy to answer this. And I'll see you guys in the next series. Bye bye.